YouTube, what's up? This is your boy Paul. Welcome to another episode of Chopping It Up with Paul. And today we're going to make Paul Catton's famous spaghetti sauce. And to do that, you need to have all your mise en place in place. For those of you that don't know what mise en place is, it's French for everything in its place. And I've got everything in its place. I've got all of my ingredients sitting in their place. The garlic. I've done a fine mince on the garlic. I was doing the video and it cut off on me. So, that being said, we're going to continue with the rest of the video. Now, you want to do a fine mince on your garlic, as you see here. It gives that aromatic smell to your garlic. You want to do a fine mince. Then you want to go over here and start heating your pan to saute the garlic. You want to do a medium heat on the saute pan. And yes, it'll take a second for it to get to temperature. In the meantime, I'm gonna make this very quick and simple because my hungry spouse will be home soon, and it's very important that you have everything where it needs to be. You got your measuring spoons in place. And you're going to want to brown the ground beef. But before that, we really want to saute the garlic. Just to release that garlic note. And our pan is nowhere near warm yet. So, we're going to move on to... In this container, I have my roux for my garlic sauce. For my sauce. See, and roux is just another form of a base for the sauce. Now that we are in place, you want to take a dry towel and dry out your skillet. Which I don't have one, so I must make one available. Any dry towel will work, see? And until you get that proper warm heat on your pan, which I will show you a chef's secret on this. I'll show you a chef's secret on this that most chefs won't tell you about. Is you'll want to get a good bubble going on your pot, which it should look like a mercury bubble when you're cooking it. While we're waiting for the pot to heat up, I'll show you how to mince garlic real quick. Because I don't want to just do one small clove of garlic. And this sauce will feed too comfortably, too easily. So if you feed more than 2 people, double the recipe. You want 2 small cloves of garlic, smash, to release the outer shell of the garlic, see? It's got this outer shell. You want to peel that off. Because that is not cookable. And it will make the garlic more flavorful if you pull that skin off. So we're slowly peeling the garlic skin. Trying to keep all the oils on the inside of the clove of garlic. We want to get this garlic a good, comfortable peel pull the skin off. And then lay it down, smash it again to release all those flavorful oils. Take your chef's knife and just do a fine mince on the garlic. It doesn't have to be tiny, but you don't want blasted chunks of garlic in your sauce. You know? So, you put it all together here. You want to get a good fine chop on the garlic, because garlic is something that, it is a natural diuretic. It will make you go to the bathroom if it is raw. So never just consume raw garlic. For one, it will overpower your taste buds, possibly even harming your taste buds. Two, it's not healthy for you. Naturally, because it's a natural diuretic, it'll make you go to the bathroom. Let's check our pot now, our skillet here. Grab the water. And it's still not warm enough. It's almost there though. To the point where you'll get the mercury bubble. So give it a minute or two more. In the meantime, take your handy dandy board scraper. See, like this. And scrape all your garlic together. And you want to have all your spices and stuff like that, because cooking is 9/10 preparation. The rest of it is just execution. You want to do your garlic with extra virgin olive oil. It doesn't matter what kind, just extra virgin olive oil. But the key is to have a pan or skillet like this one with sloped edges, where you can hop the garlic off of it. Once it's hot enough, I will show you the process. So we'll get some more a little bit more water, because a little bit ago we were almost to the mercury bubble stage. And voila, we're at the mercury bubble stage. See how it's bouncing around in there, like kind of like a mercury bubble. The skillet is ready to add oil. Now, it doesn't take a lot of oil. In fact, just a thin coat on the skillet with about a teaspoon of oil. You want to get these beautiful legs coming off of it. You want to coat your skillet nice and evenly. And then go over here and get your garlic. Just like this on your board scraper. And garlic oils put a good smell when they're done properly. You want to drop your garlic in there. And you want to hop the garlic in the pan. You don't want to do too much of a cook on it. To that color right there, that brown caramelization is plenty. Now, you want to come over here and you'll want to cut your ground beef open. Because now we're at the point where we're going to add the ground beef, which I use lean ground beef. It's healthier for you, and it has less fat. It has less fat in it. And it's perfect for cooking Italian food. And you kind of just want to add your ground beef to the garlic that you've already got in the pan. And you want to give it a quick brown. You can already hear the sizzle on the skillet. from the ground beef. And you want to take a wooden spoon and you just want to mash it out. You don't want to cool your skillet off too much by overcrowding it. But you don't want to overcook the garlic either, because it's nasty when it's overcooked. And we'll give it a quick drizzle with some more olive oil, because olive oil is good for your heart. Extra virgin olive oil is very good for your bloodstream because it's not a trans fat oil. It gives you that good stuff in your cooking, and it's also healthy for you. We're gonna brown this ground beef up. I'm trying to give you guys a good vantage point to see what I'm doing here. There we go. And you just want to brown your ground beef just like you would if you were making sloppy joes, anything like that, you know? Get that good browning on the ground beef. Mix that garlic in well. You know, get that good going on in there. Make sure that pan stays warm while you're browning your ground beef. You don't want to turn the heat up too much, because then you'll stick to the pan. You don't want to get that stick going on. But we can add just a little more heat to it, because sometimes in cooking you have to adjust the heat to whatever need it is that you have. But you don't want to turn it up too much to where you lose the souks from your meat. For those of you that don't know what souks is, it's another French word for drippings and proteins. It's basically what goes into a sauce. And yes, my hands are moving kind of quickly. Because the ground beef is kind of moving rather quickly. You know, as you can see, we're starting to get a good brown on all that ground beef. We're getting that ground beef goodness. And as we work towards getting those souks good and proteined up in the bottom, you'll notice what I'm talking about when we get to the next phase of the operation. Because the drippings are going to make the sauce. Because not only are we cooking that garlic flavor in, but at the same time we're going to gather our seasonings and add them in while the ground beef is browning. We'll take the oregano, see, oregano, do a very light sprinkle, crossed it. We're going to do the Italian seasoning, do a quick sprinkle of that. And basil, if you don't know it, is good for your blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, I recommend cooking with raw leaf basil, because basil has been known to reduce blood pressure and cholesterol. And we'll give that a quick stir in to the meat and the souks in the bottom. Give it a good flavorful addition. And then we'll get our pot, our small pot for the sauce. And we'll just kind of add this to the sauce. See, you don't hear a mad sizzle and mad just you don't want to get that angry sizzle going on when you're just browning ground beef, because you can burn it. It'll burn all that good juice to the bottom of the pot, to the bottom of the skillet, and it's just not going to do good. You know, you want to get a good even browning on the ground beef without burning it. This is why we don't do it using high heat or anything crazy like that. And what we'll do is I'll take a sieve here in a minute and strain the juice off the ground beef, because that will be used later on when we're finishing the sauce. We're not going to do a lot of the oils and stuff in the ground beef, from the ground beef in the sauce. But we still want to strain it through a sieve. Once the ground beef is done, we'll strain it through the sieve to strain off all the soups and the juices and the goodies, and leave us with the raw ground beef. And we can use this. We can use the soups later on for another operation. You want to take your towel, because the handle of that's going to be hot, and you just want to pour off the oils off the ground beef. Like that. You want to strain off the oils off the ground beef and set that to the side, because that will come later on. Now, put that over there to be cleaned, and we'll grab our medium saucepan. And again, we'll give it a quick sprig with the the black pepper. I like to have the grinder because it gives me the option of size of grind that I want on the pepper, without just requiring me to use whatever the company decided was a good grind for the black pepper. And give it a quick sprinkle with the sea salt. Sea salt's better for you because it doesn't go through a chemical breakdown like iodized salt does. And you can buy it at any store. But now we want to take our roux right here, which is just a base of the sauce, and dump it in the pot. And then to that, we're going to add the cans I showed earlier in my mise en place to it. The petite Italian diced tomatoes, see? We'll add that first. Boom. Get all that tomatoey goodness in there. And as with the tomato sauce, add that in there for body. And then just to thicken it up a little bit, we'll add the tomato paste to the mix. Now you want to take your can opener, and not only open the top of it, obviously, or you're not going to be able to get anything out of it. But we also want to put vent holes. So get out. We want to put our vent holes so that put some vent holes so the paste comes out of there pretty easily. You want to take just one can, and like I said, this will make enough for 2 people to eat comfortably. Now, if you're one that's an entertaining type of person, give it a good shake, boom, that's done. Now, you want to take your wooden spoon. This whole operation will be done with basically a wooden spoon until we get to the pasta. Rule number one of any sauce, soup, stew, anything like that is never boil it. Never. I mean, it is a horrible idea, and it's horrible for your sauce. We'll give it a quick hit with the black pepper. A little bit of sea salt. Because, hey, and you just want to season, salt and pepper it to taste. Then we'll give it a quick hit with the basil. And basil's just to give it that aromatic flavor, that aromatic smell. Aromatics are very beautiful in any Italian cooking, and it's a brilliant addition to any kitchen because people smell it and then they want to eat it. They want to come and sit down and have some of this sauce. You know, you can feed 2 or 3 people off the sauce that I'm making. After we give it a quick stir, you want to not simmer it, but you want to bring it up just a little bit to it's not a boil, but it's not a simmer at the same time. It's a light boil. Just to bring it to temperature really quickly. You should not see rapid bubbles in your soup, in your sauce, but you want to give it a stir until it looks pretty much like this. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. See how smooth and creamy that sauce is? That's the goal, folks. That's what we want to get. And then, before our ground beef gets too cold, we'll go ahead and incorporate that in with the garlic and the seasonings and everything. And go ahead, rinse this off. But we got garlic in the sauce already because of the ground beef. Because we garlicked the ground beef with sauteed garlic, you kind of want to slowly fold that into the sauce. Folding it into the sauce, kind of like in this motion. You want to fold, not stir, fold. See, and your sauce should look something like this, with that good, rich, tomatoey boldness. And that's... Oh, we're getting too high now. See? So we're going to turn it down to a light simmer. To a simmer temperature. Because you don't want that popping. It means it's killing it's burning that sauce. And you don't want to burn your spaghetti sauce. But you want to give it that beautiful, creamy texture. Because sauce needs to be simmered on low heat for the remainder of the operation. So what we're going to do is we'll turn this on low for a good simmer on the sauce, and we'll move on to preparations for the pasta. You want to take your big pot, add water, 3/4 of the way up the pot. And once you have that water 3/4 of the way up the pot, then you'll be ready to add. I use olive oil. A lot of people say, oh, well, you got to use salt. No, that's just extra sodium in your diet. And we'll go ahead and jack this up on high because you want to get a good rapid boil going before you add your pasta. See? You got your water 1/2 to 3/4 of the way up the pot. Trying to give you a good vantage point here. See? Then just splash a little bit of olive oil into your water where it looks similar to this. And that will provide a liberal coating to the pasta that'll keep it from sticking. Because you don't want your pasta to stick. Nothing is worse than sticky pasta. And nobody wants to eat sticky pasta because it's sticky. So now, with our mise en place, we need the spaghetti ready. That way when the pot's boiling, we're ready to add the pasta. In the meantime, we want to do a little bit of cleanup work. And the nice thing about the garlic, using clove garlic, is you got garlic for later. While we're waiting and doing our cleanup, do a quick brush through review. For those of you that were trying to write the recipe, you want to get 1 medium can of Italian style diced tomatoes, 1 can of tomato sauce, medium, and you want to get 1 can of tomato paste. You'll usually only find those in a small sized can. And about 1 pound of ground beef will be fine. 2 small cloves of garlic, finely minced. About 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, oregano, basil, a sprinkling of salt and pepper, or season it to salt and pepper it to taste. Because I know that not everybody will dig the same amount of heat, the same amount of salt and pepper in their sauce. Then you want 1 bag of spaghetti, a bottle of extra virgin olive oil, and remember to get the mercury bubble on your skillet before you saute your garlic. You can add, like, I would say no more than 1/3 of an onion into it. But with my sauce roux, I've already done the onion. So too much onion in a dish adds and renders too much. And you don't want to go overboard on any of these ingredients, because it'll give you that perfect balance of flavors. And you don't want to cook your sauce on medium or high. You want to simmer your sauce. And you want to keep an eye on your pot for your pasta. You want to see it basically at a rolling boil. Not a mad boil, but a rolling boil. And you want to keep it at that until the pasta is cooked to your preference. Now, I know everybody cooks differently and everybody has different tastes to their pasta. And I cook mine al dente to where it's soft, but it's not rubbery. That's a good beginning. That's a good beginning cook for a pasta. But you don't want to get it too soft either, because soggy pasta is horrible. I recommend that al dente where it's just chewy but not rubbery. Or not undercooked. Undercooked pasta is horrible too. So, bear in mind that cooking is a balancing act. An insane balancing act. Because you don't want to go too far, but you don't want to do too little either. And look at that. Look at the sauce here. We'll kind of do just like this. That's how your sauce should look. Gently stirring the ingredients after folding your ground beef in. You kind of want to fold, not stir. And you want to simmer it on low heat. Get it to that simmering point. Your boiling point, we're not quite there yet, but that's what the pot looks like right now. Do not add your pasta yet. That is not a boil. That is still a simmer. Because notice the bubbles aren't breaking the surface. In the meantime, we will move our knife and cutting board to a safer location, out the way. And a good part of any cooking venture is the after cleanup. And you'll hear the water starting to get a good boil going. See? You hear it? Remember those souks I told you that you wanted to hold on to? Add just a little bit to thin the sauce down. Add it in there just to thin the sauce down a little bit. Because it's olive oil and the natural fat renderings and the seasonings. You'll want to stir that in to the sauce. This should feed a family of 2 to 4 people. Four is pushing it. 4 max. And you'll have a little bit of leftovers left over. But not enough to feed all 5. Feed all 4 again. It's good for a take to work lunch. Alright, now our water's at a rolling boil, see? Did you see that?